Hello, my name's Lisa. I decided to start a YouTube channel to document our fertility journey, document a few other things, some memories, milestones, fun things along the way. But the main reason that I decided to start was to share my fertility story. What made me start looking into fertility, what different tests and issues and speed bumps we've had along the way, and kind of where we're at now. But like I said, I will be doing some other videos here and there. A few of them would be a story about my little niece. I've got a 5-year-old niece who I'm very, very close to. And she was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia last summer. So I'll do a little video on her, mostly to point out some warning signs that we had no idea about. And we never would have guessed that there was something this serious that could come from some of those warning signs. And then just some fun things along the way. Different fun trips we do and things like that. So for this first video, I thought I would start with just kind of answering some about me questions and get that all knocked out of the way first thing. So here we go. My name, as I said, is Lisa. I'm 33 years old. I live in Aurora, Illinois. I was born in Aurora, Illinois, and I've lived here now currently with my husband for about 10 and a half years. I've always lived in Illinois. I've never lived anywhere else. Would love to, but never have. The people who live in my house are myself, my husband, and we have a little dog, Bella. For my personality, I am introverted, to say the least. Very shy, very quiet. My husband would tell you that I'm lying, but I'm quiet with people I don't know. I'm kind, or I like to think of myself as kind. I'm very empathetic. So if somebody else around me is going through something, I feel that. And sometimes it becomes an issue. Sometimes I struggle with it a lot. For work, I work full time. I work for a company called Herc Rentals. We rent construction equipment. My location is actually a specialty location. So I rent large and small generators for lots of fun different things, a lot of festivals. Taste of Chicago is one that we've done. We've done movies, some of the Transformer movies. We've just rented them generators, nothing too fun or exciting. And then we rent HVAC too. So in the summertime, we rent a lot of big and small air conditioning for everything from factories and warehouses to huge training facilities, things like that. I have been with my job for 6.5 years now. And then before this job, I actually worked for another rental company that does the same thing. For my background, like I said before, I was born in Aurora, Illinois. Lived most of my life in Sandwich, Illinois, which is about this big, with my mom and my stepdad primarily. Also with my little sister, my little brother, and then at one point, when he was about 6 months old, my little nephew came in and he lived with us as well. He's still there to this day. He's 20. He'll always be 3 to me. And then I did still see my dad and my stepmom very often, very close to them, and the rest of my family, very close to my family. I got married when I was 21 to my husband, obviously. We've been together for 10 and a half years. We've been married for 10 and a half years. We've been together since I was 16. And very happy. He might argue that with you once in a while because I can be very crabby and whiny sometimes, but I'm very happy with him. That is about it for my basics. So I thought we'd do some fun questions as well, just kind of get to know me a little bit better with some more interesting stuff. For question number 1, what does a typical weekday look like? For me, typical weekday begins at about 4:15 or 4:20 in the morning. That is when our alarms start going off because my husband has to be to work by 5 a.m. I will get up, eat something for breakfast usually, or just have a cup of coffee and start getting ready for work myself. I will take my time because I don't have to be to work until 7 a.m. and I only work about 15 minutes from home. I will go to work. I'll open up my shop. I am the assistant manager for our location, and we don't currently have a branch manager. So I'm there to open, I'm there to close. I'll do typical work things throughout the day, answer calls, emails, dispatch, work with the guys, and just get things figured out. And then I come home, usually get home about 5:30, just depends on how the day went. And then as soon as I get home, I will immediately wash my face and put my hair up, and then start making dinner. We'll have dinner, we'll relax, and then we'll go to bed, start all over again the next day. Dinner. We'll have dinner, we'll relax, and then we'll go to bed, start all over again the next day. What does a typical weekend look like for us? It depends on what's going on. Depends on the weather, the time of year. My favorite weekends are weekends that we go to the zoo. We'll just go sometime in the morning on like Saturday. We'll walk around all day. We'll have a couple of beers and we'll look at all the animals and have fun. I love it. It is my happy place. And we go a lot. We go a whole lot. If we're not going to the zoo, like this past weekend, we just hung out at home. We were redoing our bedroom, redecorating, repainting, all that good stuff. And of course, right now with the shelter in place for Illinois because of COVID-19, we aren't going anywhere. I've also had a fever for 4 days, 4 or 5 days now. The only other symptoms are a little bit of a sore throat and a cough, so I'm fine. So we didn't really do anything. We just kind of hung out at home. That is most weekends for us. The next question is, what do you do in your free time? Kind of a couch potato. I don't do a whole lot. I will sit and listen to podcasts about true crime. I'll watch YouTube videos. I have this weird obsession with these color by number books for adults. It helps me check out. I don't have to think. I just color and I'll listen to a podcast or I will watch some of my favorite YouTubers do their videos. And just relax and wind down for the day. The next question is, where is your favorite place to go locally? My favorite place is the zoo. That's about it. I love to go to the zoo and just spend time there. Favorite places you've traveled to? Right now I would have to say my top favorite place would be Universal Studios in Orlando. I am obsessed with Harry Potter, with the books, the movies, the characters, as you can see behind me. And going there was just amazing. We went there a couple of years ago and it was so much fun and I can't wait to go back. I wouldn't even say second favorite. Another favorite would be Gatlinburg, Tennessee. We like to go and just hang out, relax, unwind, check out the shops, eat the food, have fun. It's nice and quiet and we both spent a lot of time in Tennessee growing up for different trips and vacations, so it's a fun place for us. We love to go. And the most recent vacation that we went on, which was amazing, we went to Puerto Los Cabos, Mexico. We stayed at an all-inclusive resort for our 10th anniversary. It was incredible. It was super, super, super hot all day, all night. It was so much fun. The food, the drinks, the people, it was amazing, and we both want to go back someday. It was so much fun. What is your biggest goal? I would have to say right now my biggest goal would be to be a mom. Like I said before, we've been working on fertility things for quite a while. We are in the process of starting IVF. Right now, we are kind of in a holding pattern. We had a little bit of a complication that pushed us back a little bit, and then the COVID-19 pandemic started. So the office that I'm working with for fertility has pushed all treatments back by 1 month. So we'll see, but the next step is going to be sticking myself with needles, taking medications, and prepping for IVF. So scary but exciting. What are your favorite things? So obviously, one of my favorites is Harry Potter. I love everything Harry Potter. Actually, I have one of the movies playing in the living room right now. It's on TV. I didn't just put a movie in, but if it's on TV, it's playing in this house because I'm obsessed. Another favorite is true crime. I love to listen to podcasts, read stories about true crime, that kind of thing. Love to spend time with my family. I go to my mom's house usually every week, not recently because of the pandemic, but I like to go over there, spend time, visit. Love spending time with my nieces. Madison, the one who has leukemia. I haven't been able to spend time with her recently because of the outbreak and just her safety. But normally I love to spend time with her, play with her. She loves to play pretend. I love to take her out. She's partially where my adult obsession with the zoo came from because she loves nothing more than to go to the zoo and just have fun. And then I also love hanging out at home, just quiet nights and weekends, hanging out with my husband, watching TV, making dinner. I love cooking. I cook almost every night for us. There's probably so many more that I just can't think of right now. What are your least favorite things? Whining. I don't like people that whine or complain or feel entitled. I don't like rude people. I don't like people who are disrespectful. I also don't like washing dishes because I don't want my hands to get wet and I don't want to touch wet food. I don't like the sound of somebody chewing. It just grosses me out. I don't like cleaning. I do clean, but I don't like cleaning. I don't like doing laundry. And really, my husband does the laundry. I just have to help fold it. I still don't like it. It's hard to make me laugh. I like to laugh. I just don't find a whole lot of things very funny. I do like witty humor. My husband's pretty funny most of the time. He would argue that with you because I don't laugh very often, but I still find him quite funny. My nieces are hilarious. My coworkers are pretty funny. Silly movies, silly different things. I don't know, just the normal things that make people laugh. Nicknames and stories behind them. Okay, so the oldest nickname that I have would be Pork Chop. My aunt and grandparents and my two cousins started calling me Pork Chop when I was little because of these puffy cheeks I've got here. I was a little bit chubby, but nothing crazy. Mostly just had the chubby cheeks and maybe some baby rolls. But they started calling me Pork Chop, and a few of them still call me that to this day. Another nickname, which would be the most common one that you hear still to this day, would be Yaya. My little brother Cody, when he was little, he struggled a little bit with talking, mostly because my sister and I talked for him all the time. But he couldn't say Lisa. He said Yaya. So he called me Yaya, still does to this day. And then that kind of pushed over onto my nephew when he moved in with us. He still calls me Yaya to this day, and he is 20. And then Cody's daughters, Madison and Ashlyn, both call me Yaya. My nephew Skylar calls me Yaya. My brother Justin and his wife call me Yaya. I'm stuck with it. I will just always be Yaya. Favorite movie and favorite book? Harry Potter. All of them. Love Harry Potter. Favorite food? That's a tough one. I would still have to say potatoes and corn. I love vegetables. Not a huge fan of sweets. Not a big fan of ice cream. I do crave them once in a while, but just not a big fan. Not a chocolate fan. Any pets? So yeah, we have Bella. She is 11 years old. She weighs about 11 pounds, and she is weird. She is the first animal, really, I've ever seen with OCD. When she gets too nervous or too excited, she will start touching her nose on things, mostly metal things. She likes to shock herself, but she will do it obsessively, repeatedly, over and over. She's silly. She's also terrified of flying insects. If we get so much as a gnat in this house, she will hide under the bed for the next 3 days if you don't find it and kill it. But she's super sweet. I love her to death. Favorite childhood memories? There are way too many. I would have to say pretty much anything with my grandma and papa. Trips and visits to go see my Meemaw down in Tennessee. Trips and just visiting with my dad and my stepmom. Playing with friends, torturing my sister and brother. So many. A surprising thing about me. I would have to say probably that I have my motorcycle license. I got my motorcycle license a few years ago. We took a course, and both of us, my husband and I, got our motorcycle licenses. I've never owned a motorcycle. I have no intention of buying a motorcycle. Really no intention of ever driving a motorcycle again, but I've got the license for it if I need it. Fears. So I've got weird fears. I am terrified of fish, mostly terrified of being in water with fish. Not afraid to walk past the fish tanks at the pet store or in somebody's house. there's been a few instances where I've been in Lake Michigan, and no, that's terrifying. We went to Discovery Cove when I was 17, and we swam with the dolphins. That was a blast. Cold, a little bit scary, but not bad. We swam with stingrays. That was fine. Fed the stingrays. But then there was this big tank, the Tropical Reef. We got in there. We started swimming around, and this huge eagle ray swam beneath us. Freaked out. I turned into a ball hanging onto my husband's arm. About drowned us both. So not a fan of fish at all. Another weird one would be owls. I am terrified of owls. Haven't always been. It just randomly started weirdly one night. I was sitting on the couch up way too late, and I heard an owl out in what sounded like our front yard. And then it sounded like another owl a little further away, and for some reason that terrified me. I bolted to the bedroom. I got in bed with my husband, and I've been freaked out by them ever since. And then the not so weird one would be spiders. I hate them. They're disgusting, and I don't want them near me. What was your worst job? Ooh, it's a toss-up. I worked for a temp agency once. I actually worked in the office at the temp agency, placing people into jobs. It was bad. The office was smelly and small. They had no care actually for the people that they were trying to place in jobs. It was basically just fill in the blank, throw this person over here because this is what, this job needs for the day, and I hated it. And the second worst one I would say was the glove company. I worked for a company that manufactures and sells latex and nitrile gloves. The weirdest job I've ever had. We were not allowed to speak to each other. Coworkers couldn't talk to each other. Every time I worked on commission, so every time I actually made a sale and a case of gloves brought in 25 cents for me, every time I'd make a sale, I would let the manager know, and he would immediately take the customer from me, so I wouldn't actually get any commission off of it. It was just weird. It was crazy. I worked there for about 6 months, and then I bolted. What are some weird quirks? So I've got a lot of OCD qualities. Grocery shopping with me is a nightmare. Picking out produce, I'm so picky. Has to look a certain way. It has to be clean. It has to, the boxes can't be dented, cans can't be dented. I'm just very particular about those things. Same in my house. I like things a certain way. Any picture hung in my house has to be perfectly level or it will drive me insane. I'm just kind of obsessive about some things. Was I named after anyone? Yeah. So my mom named me after Lisa Marie Presley. The middle name actually falls in line with me and my two cousins, and now some of their children. We all either had a middle name that was our grandma's first name or her middle name. Her name was Diane Marie, so I became Lisa Marie, and I had another cousin with Marie, and the other cousin had Diane. Do you have any kids? Not yet. We're working on that. So we are going to be starting IVF in the next couple of months, and hopefully shortly after that I will be able to answer yes to that question. And I had another cousin with Marie, and the other cousin had Diane. Do you have any kids? Not yet. We're working on that. So we are going to be starting IVF in the next couple of months, and hopefully shortly after that I will be able to answer yes to that question. Would you ever bungee jump? Would you ever bungee jump or skydive? Hell no. There is absolutely no reason for me to go from up here to down here that quickly. I'm good. I'm little. I was built this little for a reason. No thank you. What is your favorite thing about yourself? I would have to say that I care a lot for other people and how they're feeling. What is your least favorite thing about yourself? The same thing. I will obsess over other people and how they feel. If I've got a friend or a sibling or family member who's sad or upset, I will obsess over that, and it will completely change my mood kind of to fit theirs, and it gets pretty bad at times. I'm not a big fan. I just need to learn how to get a grip on that. Favorite or least favorite holiday? So I don't have a favorite holiday. I'd say when I was younger it was probably Christmas, of course. I do have a least favorite holiday, 4th of July. Not because I'm not proud of my country or any of that. 4th of July has just been a nightmare every year for me for the past few years. There was one 4th of July where my little brother was stabbed. He's fine, but he was stabbed, so that was terrifying. We had a 4th of July where it didn't directly affect me, but we had tornadoes, or no, it wasn't tornadoes, it was lightning strikes out by where we used to always go and watch fireworks. So I was terrified for a few hours because there was a 4-year-old little girl and a 22 or 23-year-old man that were struck by lightning. And those ages fit my little brother and my niece Madison perfectly, so I was terrified for a little bit that had happened. Thankfully, nobody passed away. There were actually 4 people struck by lightning that same night in a couple of different towns, but they're all okay now, thank God. And then the most recent was this past 4th of July. My brother and his girlfriend and my mom and stepdad and my sister, they all went to the fireworks that we always went to in Sheridan. And the next day, I got the call that my niece was being rushed to the hospital with a bloody nose that wouldn't stop. And that day just progressed and progressed. And ultimately, at the end of the day, we found out she has leukemia. So it was a very rough day. Not a fan of the 4th of July anymore. I'd prefer to just kind of skip over it and keep on going. Who do you miss the most? Alive and gone. Passed away, I would have to say my grandma and papa. They passed away right before I turned 15, 3 days before my 15th birthday. They were amazing grandparents, super sweet, fun, funny. They were awesome, and I'm very lucky to have had them. I don't have any other biological grandparents. I do still have my Grandma Rose and Grandpa Fred, and I love them very much as well. But I would have to say I miss my grandma and papa the most. For alive, I would miss Maddie. I do get to see her once in a while right now with the coronavirus going on. I don't get to see her very much, but that's okay. It's for her safety. But I miss the way things were before she got sick. Being able to just snatch her up for the weekend and take her to the zoo and just have some fun, or just have a sleepover and watch movies and play. The one thing I can say is she is still herself. She is still absolutely insane, silly, happy, funny. The biggest smart aleck you ever met at 5 years old. But I do miss being able to spend as much time with her as I used to. But that's coming soon because she goes into maintenance in 2 weeks. So her accounts will be better and she'll be able to come hang out. We'll go do fun things. Favorite smells? Kind of weird. I've always loved the smell of my husband's deodorant. Don't know why. I just like it. It smells really good. Another one would have to be a couple candles. I like the Bath & Body Works Leaves candle. It is my favorite. My house almost always smells like that. That's about it. Oh no, Bath & Body Works Black Cherry Merlot. That one's also amazing. Least favorite smells. A lot. I have a thing with smells. I hate the smell of onions. I like to eat them. I'm not able to eat them because of my stomach, but I don't like how they smell. I don't like the way a skunk smells. Duh. What else? I hate to go to places like Farm and Fleet because you smell the feed in their stores, and it's nauseating to me. The typical stinky smells that I'm not a fan of. Nobody's a fan of, for the most part. Tattoos. Do I have any tattoos? Yes, I do. I have, I think, 8 tattoos. I've got one here, here, back here. I've got one on each calf, one on the top of my foot, and then on my back I've got 2. I'll show them one day. There's a couple that need to be fixed. They're not good. But yeah, I have 8 tattoos. Favorite season? I would have to say fall. I like fall when it's comfortable to be outside, but it's a little bit more brisk. I like the sights and smells of fall, the foods of fall. Just always been my favorite. My dream job. My dream job would be to be a zookeeper. As silly as that sounds, I probably wouldn't make half as much as I make right now, but that would be absolutely incredible. It would be totally worth it to be able to work with animals all day, with the exception of the hard things that they have to go through. I don't know how well I could handle losing one of the animals or having to euthanize or something like that, but that's always been my dream job, to work for a zoo. So that is it for this video. Few things you get to know about me, and as I continue to post and talk more and things like that, you'll learn more and more. Like I said before, in the future, I'm planning on doing a video all about our fertility journey, a little bit about Maddie's story and what she's going through right now. Maybe a few other fun ones, like a day in the life. Who knows? Who knows where it's going to go, but there's going to be more videos, and hopefully you like them and want to follow along. Thanks. Bye.